Welcome to Banter30 Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Jimmy Momet, and I'm joined here today by my two co-hosts, Marc Lyon and Vitu Kanje. And we have a special guest. Welcome to Banter30, Mr. Lewis.
Yep. What's good, guys? Pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to be here, indeed. Pleasure to have you. Today we have various topics we will cover, but first we need to quickly go over the ongoing transfer rumors. The big one, which is Neymar to PSG, Matic to United, and Iheanacho to Leicester City. And we have some ongoing transfers such as Mbappe to Real Madrid, Coutinho to Barca, Hazard rumors to Barca are coming up, and Dembele to either Madrid or Barca, it seems. And finally, it seems like Thomas Lemar to Arsenal are picking up few. So the first thing we'll talk about is Neymar transfer to PSG. So the question is, from PSG perspective, PSG perspective, what does it mean to them in terms of exposures and trophies in the future with Neymar coming through? What do you guys think?
Let me start off by saying I think
take it, Lewis.
Okay. This brings legitimacy to the quote unquote project. So what they did before with what's his name, Ibra. That was cool, but Ibra was he was at the tail end of his career. He was 31. What they brought in was a top 3 world footballer. It brings legitimacy to the league, to bring more eyeballs towards the league as well. So what we have here, I think, is not just in terms of football insurance, but also monetary. So you're getting more revenue, more streaming rights, more shirts being sold. So honestly, just legitimacy. That's the main thing.
Okay, Mr. Kanje.
Yeah, I mean,
Mr.
Marc, go ahead.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
All right.
Yeah. So, I was just gonna basically stay on what Lewis basically said. Yeah. I think it's an ambition statement. First and foremost, PSG. I think the only trophy that they really want the most, just like Juventus, is the Champions League. So. Exactly. I feel like the signing of Neymar is that ambition statement. Now, that only depends if they keep certain key players, i.e. Marco Verratti. They brought in Dani Alves to bring a little bit of experience. Thiago Silva, who's a goalkeeper? Trapp. So people like that. So I feel like that's going to be the major key, Champions League. But then on top of that, I think Lewis is also right in terms of the marketing. I mean, Neymar is probably, if you look at Forbes' most popular players, he's in the top 5.
Neymar.
Yeah, Neymar has to be in the top 5. I'm pretty sure about that.
Top 3.
If you look
right
at the top 3 for real?
Yeah.
Ahead of LeBron James?
I think social. Oh, you mean? I thought you meant just in football terms.
No, not just necessarily football. I mean, athletes. Athletes.
Athletes? The top 5.
Followers.
Yeah, top 5.
Sure.
Yeah, top 5. Yeah, top 5.
I was gonna say,
I think he's top 5.
Just football, I think it's Ronaldo and him. You know, I think he has more followers socially.
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
Messi.
He has more than Messi, actually, to be honest.
Messi ain't got the pull like that, to tell the
It's
truth.
definitely
he's more marketable.
It's definitely Ronaldo and Neymar. So I'm pretty sure.
So anyway, just to close off, that's my point. I mean, I agree with Lewis pretty much for the most part. They're gonna break in a lot off on the pitch and off the pitch. So,
Marc, what you think, bro?
I pretty much agree with what everybody's saying. I don't think. I would be reiterating the point I made last week about PSG being a top, moving from, I guess you could say, arguably the power 3 elite teams. I think I always said they were in the second tier with the rest of the non-Bayern, non-Barca, non-Real Madrid teams. So I think this definitely puts them in that category. I feel like, obviously, playing in the French league, you're always going to expect them to be the favorites.
Champions.
But, obviously coming from the fact that Monaco and Nice and the French league growing in terms of talent, I think that also has a lot to do with PSG wanting to resurrect their winning ways. You know what I mean? So I don't want to go too far in depth with it, but I do think that they're definitely up there with Bayern and Real Madrid and Barcelona in terms of being favorites and winning Champions League. So it all really just depends on how they stay healthy, and the catalyst of that is Neymar. And I think the team knows that too. I mean, with Pastore giving up the 10 without any type of concern, I think that shows that PSG as a roster is behind Neymar. Like they know, you're our guy. We're going to make sure that we put you in the best position to perform because you're going to be putting us in the best position to win everything.
And Pastore might not even be there to be playing with him. To be honest,
true. At the end of the day, but I mean, for what I read, he gave it up willingly, like as a gesture.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you know what I mean. It wasn't like the Lucas Perez situation at Arsenal, with Lacazette stuff. But I mean, it's mainly that Pastore did it at goodwill, and he's Argentinian. You know what I'm saying? So if he ain't like Neymar, or if he didn't know, you know what I mean, it wouldn't be I'm just gonna give you the 10. You know what I mean? So they know. You know what I mean? They know them as a roster. You can't tell me Cavani's not happy. You know what I mean? You can't.
He's happy.
Thiago Silva isn't happy. Dani Alves isn't happy. They are happy letting him steer the ship. You know.
Just going off of what you said. I feel. I don't agree with what some analysts are saying in terms of like, oh, they're still far off. I don't know if they can win Champions League. I mean, just last season they were 4-0 up against Barca, and Barca needed Barca needed a miracle.
Week, man? If I don't know why I felt like I was a single voice in saying that last week when these two wanted to argue me the fact that Barcelona really were on the heels during that entire leg minus 20 minutes. I mean, PSG definitely
Jimmy,
it wasn't about. Huh?
Listen,
it was definitely I mean, I don't know if it was Jimmy, but it was definitely you, Vitu, that sat there and told me that they weren't the top, that they weren't the favorites in those two legs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Okay, I can agree with that. There weren't favorites, but where I can say is, in terms of like closing up the gap between world powers, I feel they have closed.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I didn't mean favorites going into the tie. I meant favorites after the first leg. And going into I'm sorry.
One thing I have to add. I agree with all of you guys on the points you make. But the thing is, though, Champions League is a different animal. We have seen with the PSG last year. Very true. We have seen they have the 4-0 lead, and then in the second half they just crumble.
Of course.
Because I don't think they have like the personnel or like I said, the tradition.
So basically you're saying they should sign more referees.
Let me finish.
Just to throw a question at you,
that is too much. Let me finish.
Okay. All right.
Like the culture of being in the Champions League every single season, the mentality. Because we've seen it. Who the hell literally give up a 4-0 lead in the Champions League? Literally. Who does that? Nobody has ever done that until PSG. Yes, they might get Neymar. Neymar is a winner. They got, veterans such as Dani Alves.
That's what I was going to bring up. Do you think that Dani Alves helps change that culture like he did at Juventus?
I think so.
It's actually supposed to come out like PSG are in talks to sign Seri. I think he's a defensive midfielder. So,
yeah, I mean, they have a lot of defensive midfielders, though. But I think adding Dani Alves though, I would be inclined to say adding Dani Alves does bring that veteran leadership. He's a guy in the locker room, for what I've heard,
vocal leader,
Juventus, from everywhere.
Vocal leader.
Yeah, a vocal leader, and also obviously being close to Neymar, that's a big thing. You know what I mean? It adds experience in Champions League, and Neymar does. Neymar adds experience in Champions League. I mean, he's been. You can argue he was the best player on the field against PSG that game.
Yes, he was.
You know what I mean? You can. I don't think that's an argument. I think you can say he was clearly the best player on the field that game. But I think that's what fuels his That's what fuels his desire to go to PSG and be the leader. Because what happens after that game? The lasting articles that you saw was Messi. Even though Neymar had two goals, one assist, 2 assists. I mean, come on, like he was completely unplayable. So you look at it and you say, that's why he wants to go to PSG, where there's not going to be a shadow of a doubt that he's going to be the guy. He's going to be in the Ballon d'Or conversations if they go to Champions League final, or if they, what I mean. He's going to be that guy. So. I hope but I do agree with you. I mean, definitely needing some veteran leadership. I think the back line is the main thing. Aurier wasn't a bad right back, but I think adding Dani Alves is and adding Dani Alves I think helps. So I think
so. Yeah. Any last points before we move on to our next points, guys?
Yeah.
Kanje, you've been quiet. Lewis, you got anything to say?
Yeah, I do. I was saying, I think ideally they do. PSG have the depth to compete in the Champions League.
True. That's very true.
So, to say if the only thing is mentality and they're buying 2 proven champions, I think that's not really going to take them over the top to win it this year, but it's a catalyst to put them in position.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with that. I don't think they're going to win it this year, and maybe not even next year. You know, it's Champions League is not easy, man.
It's not.
I think they have a chance, man.
I know that.
I think
Real Madrid went 10 years without winning it. 10 years without winning it. So it's not easy just because you got the players.
No, of course. I'm not saying that. I don't think any of us are saying that. But I think it's mainly to do with getting yourself in a position to where you can compete.
Yeah.
Juventus went to 2 finals. You know what I mean? Haven't won 1. And you can argue they weren't in a position to really win. Atletico Madrid went to 2 finals. All it is getting there. You see what I'm saying?
Just get there.
So yeah, it is easy. It's not easy, but at the end of the day, if you have a team that's always in a position to win, you're gonna get your chance. And I think if you get them there, and it's 1 game, and it's Barca PSG, I'm not saying, you know what I'm saying, depending upon the season, obviously, but if it's Barca, or if it's Barca PSG, or if it's Bayern PSG, or if it's Real PSG, it doesn't look as lopsided as it did with Real Madrid and Atletico.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
What do you think? What do you think the formation?
We have to move on to the next point due to time, guys.
Go ahead.
You know, the next thing is, you know, what does the transfer mean to the world of football in terms of players, you know, value, you know, because we just seen 222 million on Neymar, which is nobody ever back in the day would thought that would be possible nowadays, and now we're seeing the trends of players, you know, even players like Coutinho is asking for 120 millions and shit. What's going on over there?
But I think
what we're actually seeing here is like, what's he gonna do for the price of players? I mean, of course, it's gonna go up. People are gonna look at Neymar being 170, and now they're gonna look at people like, Coutinho. He's probably worth more than 100, and I mean more than.
But my problem is, you can justify like world class players, but you can't justify players like Sigurdsson. Sigurdsson, why should he go for 50?
Yeah, 50 million.
Peck for 30 million.
But you're going into 2 different things though, because obviously EPL, you're comparing EPL as a league though, and their inflation to world football stars like Neymar, and the inflation that's across Europe. You know what I'm saying? It's two different parallels at the end of the day, the way I see it, because obviously the inflation in England occurs to the fact of TV costs and the TV deals that they have there compared to Spain and other areas. But Neymar, Pogba, Ronaldo, all of these players that are gone for big money, obviously are world stars. And at the end of the day, I feel like that money obviously shouldn't equate to certain players. I agree with what you were saying, like Sigurdsson and stuff like that. But the inflation in EPL is the way it's going to continue to rise. You know what I mean? More money being spent in more places, more money on TV deals with 2 different teams.
Marc,
many different teams.
This raises another question. Do you think eventually, you know, it will balance itself out? The price will drop eventually?
It'll never balance itself out.
And honestly, that's what I'm sorry for rambling. That's what I was really trying to get to. It's not going to drop. It's only going to keep going. And especially with teams and players that want to move more vividly than they did before. You know, like, gone are the days you're going to see Gerrard and Totti and these one club teams. And these one club players, like, a lot of times it's not going to happen like that anymore. You know what I mean? With money,
so
and with teams trying to.
So the thing is, though, I read somewhere, I watched a video on this Neymar transfer, and it seems like there's a third party involved.
There's always a third party
with the Qataris. Yeah, they give the money to Neymar.
Yeah.
And then Neymar have to buy himself out of the club.
Which was that tweet I was mentioning.
That's how he got out of. That's how he got out of.
Yeah, I feel like state-owned clubs, countries are not going to be buying players just to like help out their state-owned clubs.
Will that actually bring another? Will that bring another? The question is, will that bring another, you know, significant addition to the game of football? Like, now clubs are going to find
just open the doors.
Beyond the doors.
Just open the doors.
Isn't Real Madrid kind of like that?
We actually use our own money because we make a lot of money, but I think that's like the first
not
significant.
from the Bank of Spain.
No,
but
we
make a lot of money. Our revenues are good. Our revenues.
You have funding from the city, though, don't you? Don't you?
That was back in the day. That was back in the day when we needed help.
I'm saying from the city though.
We make like 600 million
from the city.
So don't you have a board? Don't you have a board Don't you have a board appointed, like a board member that's voted on by the city? So I don't know how Real Madrid works. I'm asking. I've always heard rumblings.
So it's not operated like.
Well, this is not about Real Madrid, so let's keep it on.
Right, I'm just saying. I didn't know.
Just one more point. In terms of monetary value, like Marc said, obviously prices will increase, but it was also it's going to force some clubs to go back to better scouting. So if you look, sorry about the EPL bias, but then if you look at clubs like Tottenham, where
don't worry, there's two of them right there. There's two another bias niggas.
So it's okay. Where the scouting has been impeccable over the last 3 or 4 years.
That is true. That's another possibility.
Exactly. So I think these types of buys will force other clubs to go back into proper scouting. Like if you see Manchester United 2 years ago, they actually picked one of Tottenham's top scouts. Started looking again, reinforcing into the grassroots system, academy system.
Yeah, no, I mean definitely. I think that's more, but I think that's more or less happening not to find just youth academy players, but to find the next Mbappe, to find the next Neymar, to find the next. I mean, you see the going rate. As we're going to mention Lemar later on, 21-year-old that's going to be 80-85 million from Monaco. There's going to be a lot of youth players in the next couple years coming out under 25 that are going to be worth that. Now, in Coutinho's case, I will say it's different because him as an EPL player, he's going to be worth more under contract than a Sanchez is going to be worth right now because he's 12 months left. So, you know what I mean? There's certain people that are just in bad situations that obviously if Sanchez had signed an extension, he'd be worth 150 million or 140 million. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's also situational. It's not the fact that it's just the inflation, but if you have in situations like Coutinho where they can say no, and they more than likely are trying to say no, it's going to be okay. I'm
150
this much over his value because of the contract situation.
Yeah, and you could do that.
So out of that 150,
another question that would raise right is the fact. What do you guys think about all the smaller clubs? Since all the big clubs got the money, but the smaller clubs,
which is going to keep going because this is currently what Lewis just previously.
It seems like you just take out all the small clubs, isn't it?
But
I think what Lewis just previous. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's already been going on. What Lewis previously mentioned, it's already been going on in Spain. If you think about it, Spanish football has been producing way better players. I mean, it's not just necessarily. It's not just necessarily Barcelona and Real Madrid.
Seville.
I think the smaller
Malaga.
Yeah, Sevilla, Malaga, all these other teams, Deportivo. They're producing great players. Yeah, they're producing great players. Mallorca.
It's
just the result of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Just one quick point.
But for whatever reason, though,
I just want to throw out a question. So, what do you think needs to be countered in terms of this? Because, like you said, this financial spending is going a little too crazy.
Well, that's a good question, and I think,
fair play. Yeah. It was supposed to be the counter.
Well, that really wouldn't do anything. It's a suggestion and stuff.
Exactly. And just paying fines.
I think the smaller clubs, I think they would just have to go back to the basic. Scouting is one important thing. Developing players. But when even they do scout and then they get the players, the big clubs are gonna come through and give them money for them.
But I can say it's not
really gonna change.
Yeah, I can say in terms of if you're looking better scouting, I can say right now, Madrid have a better scouting system than Barcelona. If you look at the youth ranks coming into La Liga for the next 2 seasons.
Lewis, I'm sorry to block you down, bro, but we're going off topic right now. Okay. We gotta stay on topic. Yeah.
Yeah, you're about to get. You're about to get Jimmy's favorite subject, but
yeah, seriously, I would start talking, but I can't. We can't go there.
All right, man. Let's go on. Let's go on.
That is a good point. That is a noteworthy point that we can discuss in a different time.
So now we have to move on to Manchester United. This week they got Matic.
Oh boy.
They have been. What was that oh boy for?
They got a babysitter. They got a babysitter for Pogba.
They already have two.
All right. Okay. Okay. So, what does it mean? What? They got a babysitter for Pogba. Anyway, what does it mean for Manchester United in terms of competitiveness?
Depth in Europe, man. They're building up the squad for Europe, basically.
Exactly. 100%.
You really think so?
100%. Of course, it's Mourinho.
You think Mourinho's gonna be gunning for that?
Gunning for Europe.
But here's the thing. Okay,
One
here's
at a time. One at a time, guys.
Yeah.
One
Let me
at
just
a
go,
time.
Mark. Let me just go, Mark. Like,
Yeah,
you think he really cares more about Europe than he would the Premier League?
100%.
Yeah, I can agree with that as well.
100%.
Yeah,
Especially when he's chasing,
I think he's I actually think with what's been going on, I think he's actually gunning for the Premier League. And what I mean, what's been going on for the past 3 years.
I agree.
Dude, Man United has not finished in the top three. What is in the top three? In the top three since Alex Ferguson has left. That's not Man United that everybody has come to know. It's time to win the league, and the time to win the league is now for them.
Mark,
that's what I think. That's what I think Mourinho is hired for.
I disagree. He may have been hired to win the Premier League. Who knows? Who knows what he was hired for? They've been hired to get us back in Champions League. At the end of the day, I think he made it pretty clear in February when he didn't. They were still unbeaten, but even
he didn't
changing
care.
changing his roster up just to get back in the Champions League for Europe. But even at the time, you could say that they may have been almost out of it, but weren't mathematically out of it. It's clear. He of course he would love to win the Premier League, but he just won it 2 years ago with Chelsea. Came back and won it with Chelsea, correct?
It's not about him. I think it's about what the club wants.
Hold on. You don't think the club wants to get back to Champions League prominence where they were?
They do, but they want the league.
Years ago and got embarrassed by Barcelona. You don't think that coming back into Champions League, going to
Look at Lewis laughing, but he enjoyed this.
Is more important to them than being in the top four or trying to compete for a title. Obviously, they want to compete for a title. Every team at that level wants to compete for a title. But Jose Mourinho, who has 3 Champions League titles to his name and is already in very, very small
Mark,
company.
Again, this is where it is. It's not about Mourinho. It's about Manchester United.
So when has it never been about Mourinho?
Yes, speak on it.
Tell me, when has it never been about Mourinho?
Let's keep it about competitiveness.
Come on, man.
Manchester United.
It's always
there.
You may think it's about
the league,
but you think it's 100% about Mourinho. It's what Mourinho wants.
Gunning for the league.
You know what will happen?
Mark.
If Mourinho gets them back to Champions League final and they win it, or they just get back there. You think that he's going to be like, oh, I'm good now? I'm just saying.
They're not going to win the Champions League.
I'm just saying.
We all agree on this, right?
Yeah, then they're not.
I know. Yeah, I agree.
They're not going to win the Champions League.
I agree, Jimmy. I'm just saying. Hypothetically,
they're not making quarterfinals. They're not making quarterfinals as well.
No, of course.
So the question is, let's not talk about this. Let's talk about Matic and what he brings to the table for Manchester United.
Top 4.
Okay.
Top 4 for United.
Top 4.
Yeah. I agree. I think they're already on the cusp of being top 4, but I think
so. Top 4 for Me United. So I guess Arsenal and Liverpool are not going to be in the top 4.
Yeah, I can say that because Liverpool, the depth, they don't have the depth. Liverpool doesn't have the depth.
I mean,
we don't have the depth yet. I mean, we're two players off of it. But then, dude, I would even take it a step further because I know I predicted it was going to be Man United last season in the top 2, but this season is the one that they're going to be in the top
2?
Without a doubt. It's expected. It's expected from what all the signings that they've made. It's expected.
It's also expected.
That all depends.
So
that all depends.
What does Matic brings that can make them be the top 4?
I mean, he frees up Pogba. We just hit on that point. Okay. I mean, that's his role. His role is meant to be that guy that's cleaning up the space, screening the back 4, and then distributing the ball for Herrera, letting Herrera being more engaging, more free, and then letting Pogba do his thing up front.
Top 2 team. I'm not ready to call it.
I'm ready to call it a top 2 team, but that all depends as well. That all depends as well. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It all depends. It all depends. They signed Lukaku. I mean, he scored 25 goals last season. It all depends on Rashford.
Yeah,
Rashford's in the mix. Pogba is going to be playing more offensive. Exactly, but hold up. Pogba is going to be playing more offensive. Then you have Martial.
Listen.
But it's
Martial. You want to talk about Martial? Let's talk about Martial. Let's talk about Martial then.
No.
Martial's numbers last year were pretty underwhelming, but okay, I'm not gonna do it. You're right.
You know the funny thing about Martial? Martial always looks like he doesn't care because I saw him play live. I was like, yo, he doesn't care.
He has that face.
Yeah,
I've
seen him, bro. I've seen him play. I'm like, yo, he doesn't look like he cares.
So here's the question, right? Matic is coming in. We're gonna free Pogba.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is Pogba really that creative, like the creative force they need in that area, or is it better to have
Juan Mata or something?
Juan Mata, exactly.
But you've seen, they have Mkhitaryan on top of that. Like, bro, they have so much firepower. It's like ridiculous.
But you've seen what Mata has done. Mata cannot fulfill them to go back and bring them back to prominence. Mata can't do that.
But he's creative. He can score goals and he can create.
Mata's one-dimensional.
Why not?
He's not. He's not going to be a starter. He's not.
We talked about this though in another podcast. I know you may not have since you weren't on that at that time, but we talked about the fact that they led the league last year in missed chances and big missed chances, and that's with the slack. So they were able to create chances, but they weren't able to score goals. I mean, they don't get me wrong, they scored goals, but they also had a shit ton of chances. You know what I mean? They just failed to do that as much, failed to convert, and with Lukaku there, I don't know if I'm ready to say he's going to be Zlatan or better just because he did it at Everton. He could be, of course he could be. But when you score 49 goals last year and you look at the rest of the top four that scored 71, 69, 65, 68, you know what I mean? You got some big holes to fill. You know what I'm saying? You got some big shoes to fill at the end of the day.
Yeah. So, the last question. It seems like defensively they're going to be better, don't you guys think?
Yeah, you saw it. Yeah, you saw it.
But were they actually? I mean, they weren't horrible defensively.
That's never been the problem. That's never the problem for them.
Have you guys been watching?
Arguably the best keeper in the world in the game.
Yeah.
That's not named
exactly.
Emmanuel.
That's not the problem. I mean, that's
the problem's never been
effectively well. Yes.
You know?
So they've been working. They've been working really hard. All right, guys. Mr. Kanji, you got anything to add before we move on, bro?
No, that was about it.
Okay. So let's talk about Iñárritu to Leicester City.
Iñárritu.
Iñárritu, the Italian.
Look, that's like Iñárritu is like what?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like, who we're talking about?
Iñárritu.
It sounds Italian to me.
Iñárritu.
Say the full name, V. Yo, V. Say his full name.
Kelechi and Nacho.
Watch out. They're gonna come for you. Watch out. They're gonna come for you.
I think Leicester made a great move in showing that they are ready to fight for the second level of top five in the EPL. They've showed with this move they're ready to duke it out with Everton and Stoke and Southampton and the rest of the 5 to 10 in the table.
I feel like it's a good move for both parties. Because Iñárritu, I mean, he started out well. He showed promise, but then I think for Pep Guardiola, he was too static of a forward. He was too static. Like you get what I'm saying, right? Because he wasn't a Pep Guardiola kind of player. Like links up, he's fluid, he's not like
that's not fair to call him static. He wasn't false.
One at a time. One at a time, guys.
Iñárritu, I think it's a classical.
He was pretty. Yeah. He's a classical striker. He's clinical in front of goal. He's pretty good at finishing. But again, like it's the other part of the game that Pep Guardiola needs his forward to do. Like, would you ever compare Iñárritu to Lewandowski? Would you ever compare him to David Villa? Would you ever compare him to Sergio Aguero, Jesus? You wouldn't. He's just not that kind of
rotational.
Rotational front three. And that's why I said it's a good thing. That's why I said it's a good thing for Man City to let go of him and especially get 25 million from him. That's a really good thing. And then, of course, Leicester City, they got a player that can kind of complement, what's his name? Jamie Vardy. Jamie Vardy's always been the type of player that, playing with a big man. And then, like what we saw with Ulloa when they won the Premier League title, surprisingly. It's a good thing for them.
Do you put him out wide then? Because for sure.
No,
I'll do a 4-4-2.
Going to be going somewhere else.
I'll do the 4-4-2 that they've always done.
I'm saying. So you're going to put him as a second striker then? I mean,
partnership.
No, I'm putting Nacho as the main striker and Jamie Vardy.
First striker.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm saying as a second striker.
Play two of them. We'll play two of them as twins.
Yeah, like 11. He'll play like an 11. Like what I'm saying. He's going to be the second.
Why not two twin number 9s?
Or they can play 4-3-2, 4-2-3-1.
That's exactly what I was saying. That's why I said you pull him out wide, play 4-2-3-1 because you're going to. Mahrez looks like he's either going to go to Roma or he's trying to. He definitely looks like he's trying to leave. So if he does leave, you just put him out there and say, okay, create. Because you guys are just saying he's not that type of striker. He's more of a traditional number 9.
Up top. He's gonna lead the line.
For such a young player, his off the ball movement, without the ball. He seems exactly. He seems to always find himself in the right position.
And that's exactly why I said to Vitu, it's not fair to call him static. Just because he's not a false 9. Like, he's not going to be that type of player. But I don't think that his movement's bad. Really nice. I think his off-the-ball movement's very well.
But
and I think
you heard me explain what I meant by being static, though.
Yeah, I understand. That's why I said it's not really fair.
Would you ever compare him to, like, the way the other guys Dominica play?
I would compare him to Lewandowski in his movements.
I would compare him to Chicharito more than anybody else.
You know, the thing is,
exactly.
Kelechi's football IQ.
He's a fox in the box. Yeah. Put it that way.
Yeah, but Lewandowski has great movement in the box too as well. So that's why I said I wouldn't say
but he has more to his game.
His football IQ,
yeah, of course.
As you can tell, for a young player, it's just through the roof right now. I agree with you. Where I think this season is important for him, if he can put in 15 plus, all competitions 15 plus.
15 or 50?
15.
15.
Oh, okay.
Like Ronaldo got
it. If he can put 15 plus,
Leicester will be okay.
Season, he's gone.
Maybe they'll be top. He's
gone. I don't see Kelechi staying more than 2 seasons.
There's a buyback clause. In his contract, isn't it? I read somewhere they had a
promise.
But I don't see him spending more than 2 seasons at Leicester. For me, that's just a stepping stone.
He can always go back. Okay.
I agree.
Anyway, and last thoughts.
I'm good.
He's
20.
He was this good.
Nigerian 20 or like actual 20? Listen.
Shout out to my friend Obi. All right. This guy.
Nigerian 20.